Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Sibling Rivalry channel. My name is Aaron, and today I'm going to be showing you how to slice your 3D models in your web browser.
A machine that can make copies of almost anything.
So welcome back from the intro. Like I said, we're going to be slicing 3D files in your web browser, and this is actually based on a viewer request from Omar. He requested this on one of our previous KP3 videos, and in his situation, he has a Chromebook, and you're somewhat limited in what sort of slicer stuff you can do and 3D printing stuff you can do on a Chromebook. Like obviously there's Tinkercad for design, but what solutions are there for slicing your G-code, especially if you're doing something where you might need to save it to an SD card, like with the KP3. So we're going to switch over to the desktop view, and as you can see here, I have Astro Print. So you can actually just go astroprint.com and sign up for a free account, and from what I can tell so far, it seems like a great service. You're allowed to use up to 2 printers connected to your account, so that's like 2 remote printers or whatever you want to call it. Astro Print is similar to Octoprint. It allows you to queue up prints and monitor them remotely. They have an app that you can use to do that, and essentially use like a Raspberry Pi style computer to connect to your printer, and then that acts as like a wireless access point. So yeah, to get started, I've actually gone through this already just to make sure everything worked. We're just going to go in and select printer profiles, and you can see I've got a KP3 here, but I'm just going to make a new one, and we're going to call it Stuart, because that's what I call my printer, my KP3 at least. Stuart. Okay. And we want a rectangular bed shape for the build area. Circular you'd only want to use if you're doing a polar or delta printer, which the KP3 is not. The build area for the KP3 is 180 by 180 by 180, and you can see I've typed this in recently and it's kind of saved into autofill. We do have a heated bed on the KP3, but you could, like any printer, you could always try and run it without the heated bed, but the heated bed does add to adhesion. It doesn't hurt to have this toggled on in your slice, or like in your printer profile. Now we're going to be exporting G-code, not X3G, and you can select your different slicer engines here, but I like Slicer personally. And it's using Prusa edition, version 1.4, and we are doing the Marlin Sprinter Repetier flavor of G-code. And we've got 1 extruder, and we've got a nozzle diameter of 0.4 millimeters and filament diameter of 1.75. You can add in start commands and end commands if you're doing auto bed leveling. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it blank for now because I don't have anything set up on Stuart. And now from here, we can either select this option or we can go back out and select this option, and we can create material profiles. So Stuart, I'm actually going to give him I was trying to do that. I wonder if that actually works. I guess not. Okay, we're going to add a material profile. So this is how we're going to do PLA. I've got Solutech PLA. I'll just call it marble because that's what I'm printing with right now. And I like to print at 210 and a bed temperature of 60. You could fiddle around with this. This is essentially the same as in your regular slicer. And you might have to tweak these depending on your material. But you can see there's a lot of other different things in here that you can adjust if you're printing different materials. So I'm going to go back to the main page, and we're going to go into slicer settings. So for Stuart, we want to create a set of slicer settings. So by default, you can see the stuff that's already in here. and you can kind of tweak these as you need. I've actually, apparently it carried over from my KP3, and yeah, I've just had external perimeters first set on, because that's how I like to print. Personally, I find it's better to, if you have something where there's a bit of slop in the filament feed, like with the KP3, it's good to kind of get your outer perimeters done first. That way you know that the outer shape is fine, and then everything else can kind of, the infill can absorb whatever over extrusion or whatnot goes on. But you can fiddle around with that and see what you want. So this is essentially 20% fill density, in case you're wondering. So the 1% is 100, 0 is 0. Yeah, and I'm doing a rectilinear fill pattern. It might auto-generate with a different one. I know a lot of times it does honeycomb. I've done a few profiles on here now, and I've gotten one that started with rectilinear and one that started with honeycomb, so it seems like maybe there's a, I don't know, if it's a known profile, it might already have that. So, yeah. Perimeter speed, I just increased that up to 60 millimeters a second because I know that I can print that. Small perimeters I've got at 35, and I just kind of left everything at default. You could copy over your settings from your, like if you have a slicer config already set up, you could just go in there and just kind of copy things over, or ask someone for their details and then copy them over. I'm not sure if you can import slicer profiles. I don't believe you can, because it's technically not the same thing. Like this is all cloud-based, so they actually have instances of Slicer Prusa Edition. I don't know why I keep saying Pruser. Prusa Edition 1.4. They have that running on a cloud computer. So I don't think you would be able to import your config in the same way, but you can just go through here and see if there's anything that you need to adjust. You might need to tweak these if your filament is really out of tolerance, or if you're finding your extrusion multiplier is a bit off and you're getting a bit of filament shortage or filament like overflow. You can kind of tweak this. Turn on your cooling fan. Even if you don't have it installed, it's better to have it turned on. And there we go. So we've got that profile generated. And now for the slicing part. And sorry if I'm talking too fast. If you need any clarification, let us know in the comments down below. Alright, so I have this underdesk headphone holder. Let's see if we can show this here. You can see I actually sliced G-code for it already, but let's see if you can view the design. Yeah, it's loading it into the 3D viewer here and generating the shadow. Fancy. So this is a handy little thing for me, at least. I've got a pair of Bose, or not Bose, of Shure 440s. I don't know why it's Bose. I think Val has a pair of Bose. But you just put a wood screw through this and you mount it to the bottom of your desk. And it's got enough clearance there, and it works great. It keeps your headphones out of the way and easily accessible. I don't have speakers for my computer, so I just use headphones. Yeah, so we can go out of here and I'll just click leave the page. We're going to go back to the design library and we're going to click on this, and I am going to actually just delete this to show you what the slicing is like. So there's a few ways you can slice it. You can go in here, slice it this way, select the profile. We'll go with Stewart, Solutech Marble, normal. You could do plate adhesion if you're worried about that, if it's a problem that you have regularly. I usually rotate this design personally, so that it's on the side. I'm going to see if there's a way to tweak that. Yes, there is. So I find it prints, well, it wouldn't print very well this way. So I'm going to rotate it this way. There we go. And now we can just save the plate. Save. we go out here, go back to the design library. I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. I'm just still a little new at this. So we've saved this as a new STL. And what we want to do now is either click here and click slice, or we click here and slice. And there's all your settings. We're going to do Stewart. It does that by default. And rather than print, we just click slice. And that's going to generate some G-code. You can see it's right there. And there we go. There's our G-code. So we just go here and we click download. And we want to save the file. And now that it's saved, we can actually go into the folder that it's in and click open. I have this, you might have to select to open with a notepad or text editor, but it will show you the actual G-code. Now you could copy this over to a SD card, a USB drive, depending on your printer, or if you have your printer connected wirelessly with one of those fancy new Wi-Fi adapters, you could just carry it over that way if you have it set up. But that is how you get your G-code out of Astro Print. So, if you have any other questions about Astro Print, feel free to let me know. As you can see, there's a few different options in here. You can go to the build plate and modify the design. They've got a few different cool things. 3D Slash is actually like a sculpting tool. These are all third-party apps. You can download stuff directly from My Mini Factory and Thingiverse through this. I don't know what Leopoly is, but yeah, and G-code viewer is nice for kind of going over your G-code, making sure everything works and makes sense. So, hopefully you guys found this informative. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. We really appreciate that. If you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure that you're subscribed and you've rung the bell for notifications. It goes a long way to telling us what you guys like, and it also helps, well, yeah, make sure that you don't miss out on future content, because we're going to keep doing this content, but knowing that people like it, we'll have a bit more focus on it. So, yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, and bye for now.